Welcome back to Something in the Shadows. Today, we have 5 unbelievable facts about Jeffrey Dahmer. Like the video and subscribe for weekly serial killer videos. Fact 1. He had his own fan club at school. Jeffrey Dahmer was in many ways a withdrawn and obsessive child. One of his favorite hobbies was to dissect animals and collect their bones. However, he was also known as a class clown at school and impressed other kids with his outrageous pranks. These included pretending to have seizures and fits, which was known among his peers as doing a Dahmer. Some fellow pupils were so tickled by Jeff's antics that they dubbed themselves the Dahmer Fan Club and actively encouraged him to take it further. Years later, when Dahmer's crimes came to light, it stunned his former classmates. John Backdorf, author of the acclaimed graphic novel My Friend Dahmer, explained it's like getting hit by a 2x4. Suddenly, all the goofball antics and silly things we'd done became completely sinister and troubling. Fact number 2. He performed zombification experiments. The grisly nature of Dahmer's murders has become part of American serial killer lore. Alongside the acts of necrophilia and cannibalism that made him notorious, he also performed bizarre experiments to try and subjugate his victims. One of them was Earl Lindsay. A teenager he lured into his apartment. Dahmer sedated him, drilled a hole into his skull, and poured in hydrochloric acid, thinking it would turn him into a docile zombie. Incredibly, Lindsay survived the initial ordeal and woke up complaining of a headache before Dahmer strangled him. Another subject of his ghastly experiments was teenager Karenik S. Like Lindsay, he survived having acid poured into his skull and even managed to leave the apartment when Dahmer had gone to buy more alcohol. Fact number 3. He planned to turn his victims into an altar. When Dahmer was finally apprehended, he confessed he'd been planning to create an altar in his apartment, using the remains of his victims. It was a serious project for Dahmer. He later created a detailed sketch of the imagined altar, which would have consisted of a black table adorned with skulls and flanked by whole skeletons. For Dahmer, it would have been a meditative area, where he intended to sit on his black leather chair and bask in his bloodlust. Or, as he himself described it, it would be a place where I could cleanse my thoughts and feed my obsession. Fact number 4. Dahmer took a human head to work. Jeffrey Dahmer worked in a chocolate factory. His work life and grotesque private life did overlap when he took a victim's mummified head into work and stored it in his personal locker. That's how strong the compulsion was. That's how bizarre the desire was. He later explained in an interview, "I wanted to keep something of the person with me." Fact number 5. He was caught red-handed and got away with it. Dazed and disoriented, Karenik S. was found on a street corner by 3 women. They promptly called the police, but Dahmer somehow convinced the officers that the boy was an adult and they had simply had a drunken lover's tiff. The women, who originally found the victim, were incredulous, but the police bought Dahmer's story completely. They didn't feel anything was amiss even when they accompanied Dahmer and Karenik S. back to the killer's flat, which stank of decaying flesh due to a previous victim lying in the bedroom. Satisfied that everything was fine, the officers left. Dahmer then murdered the victim straight afterwards. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a horrifying day.